YouTube! What's up? Another video. Got a special one for you guys today. We'll figure out how to make this full screen. There we go. Got a couple special guests. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourself?
Go ahead, BJ.
What's up, y'all? It's BJ. You've heard my name before on Luce's channel. I'm here to talk a little bit about fantasy football and some FanDuel, some DFS stuff.
Go ahead.
And my name is Andy. First, I want to thank Lucas for inviting me to come on the show. I think his YouTube channel is really helpful for people getting started in fantasy football. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Ready to talk daily fantasy sports.
Oh, yeah, and Andrew said it well. Thanks for that. As he said, we're going to start doing a weekly show during the season, 25 minutes to 30 minutes long, talking about our favorite DFS players for the week. We all love DFS. We play all types of sports from, hell, I think I saw BJ betting on a Game of Legends one time. Who knows about it?
League of Legends.
League of Legends, excuse me, yeah. BJ's just betting on tennis, whatever he can find. But I think we all can agree that we love football the most. It's the most entertaining, and honestly, it's once a week, so that kind of, you can save your bankroll a little bit for the football, and the prizes are just insane. First couple weeks, you have $1 million prizes for $3 entries, and we all like to swing the bat at that. So let's go ahead. When did everyone start playing DFS? Andy, I'll start with you. When did you start getting into it?
I got started in DFS about 5 years ago. At my old job, I was in a fantasy football league, yearly league, with some coworkers. And one of my coworkers said, "Have you ever checked out FanDuel?" And I, of course, have seen the commercials, seen the guy with the big check, $1 million. And I'm like, yeah, sounds good. I'll give it a shot. So I gave it a shot and been hooked ever since. Got my brother. Sorry about that.
Very good.
Got my brother started in on it, and we've really been hooked ever since. I made a mistake, my first year though. I picked players on the team I like. I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, so I just always picked with my heart players I liked, and I think that's always the number one mistake. You never want to do that. You want to pick with your brain, and I haven't had that big win yet, but I try every year. I enter multiple lineups a week, and hopefully one day I'll hit it. I think I got a pretty good strategy, and I think I can offer some advice for everybody.
Excellent. How about you, BJ? When did you start?
Yeah, man, I seen about DFS. We did fantasy football. We've all been in the same leagues over 10, 12 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But I really first seen like DFS with with Lucas here. And I think you were playing basketball one night. I think you needed I forget who you needed. You need Cauley Stein to give you something.
Yep, I was hovering between first and 10th place that night. If Cauley Stein kept getting rebounds and would shoot me up to first, I'd have 50,000 beside my name. And then 5 seconds later, I'd be down to 10,000. It was a ride of my life. But
and I really
that's exciting.
Excited about it. But I actually got into it the Lakers and Heat series, the finals. That's when about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I really got into DFS, kind of playing and stuff thrown here and there. Playing fantasy football, like we said, we've all been, we've all talked about it. We text each other about it. So we have a lot of information. We keep up to date with everything. Like Andy said, you can't really go with your heart about your team. You can throw who you like there, but you have to go with, it's good to look at spreads. It's good to look at everything, the whole thing before you enter. But throwing $3 in for $1 million and you randomly hit it, what's the harm in that?
I agree with you completely. And I kind of started even before these guys did. I started when FanDuel was super, super new. I have super user status on there, which is actually kind of embarrassing. But I've been on there for about 5 years, and I was loving the basketball for a while, but then I really got into football 2 years ago. And I think we all can agree, if we played baseball, we played basketball. BJ does the MMA stuff. Other than probably BJ and MMA, I think we all can agree that football is the easiest to cash on, to get in
It
that
is.
top 20% of your tournament to win a little bit of money back for whatever
And it's the
reason.
most fun.
I think we all have similar strategies. It's all about, I know, for instance, we all try to pick our favorite quarterback of the week, and we have a kind of a text message group that we're all dropping our favorite quarterback of the week on. And I think we'd all take each other's advice, and we'll send. I'll do a couple lineups with Andy's favorite quarterback. BJ will do a couple lineups with my favorite quarterback. We're kind of working together for the common goal, but still creating those unique lineups to give ourselves a chance to win.
Mhm. I
What,
think we're
what's
really close too.
what's some strategies that you guys implement when you guys are making your lineups? Like, you know, BJ, you said you got to look at everything together when you're creating your lineup. Like, name some specifics on a weekly basis that you are exploring to, kind of help you improve your chances of cashing, and ultimately the goal is to win some big money. So what kind of things do you look at?
Well, what I see is a lot. Well, playing last year, my first season of fantasy football in DFS, you always see a stack. Always
Mhm.
seems the winner always has a stack of maybe a quarterback and a running back, dishing off touchdown.
Sometimes multiple receivers from the same team.
I mean, we've seen it last year with I think Kirk Cousins and Jefferson and Thielen last year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think there was 2 weeks last year
Cowboys
that
stack too. It was like CD Lamb
Yeah.
and Amari Cooper.
When you get CD for cheap.
Hmm.
exactly like he was really low priced. But stack you always see. Um, that would be probably my number one thing is to see a stack. Uh, Maybe go contrarian with a stack, which contrarian means the less owned, the less popular pick, and stack that, look up the odds on that, and then stack a contrarian pick. I mean, that's usually what you've seen. No one really, I mean, Justin Jefferson at the beginning, no one really knew what he was going to be. And we didn't really know either. And then that stack happened with Justin Jefferson and Thielen, and that was $1 million prize, and we didn't even see it. So,
What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I kind of like to look at injuries, like for sure, like just say maybe Zeke's out. You can get some pretty good value for Tony Pollard, someone like that for really cheap, and you can afford those high end players. Another thing I like to look for is like salary. Like Christian McCaffrey is like 10,400 the starting week. I mean, that's if you pick someone like that, you're not going to be able to fit in other good players. So you
and
maybe
if
want to explore someone cheaper.
you need him to score you 40,
Yeah, and that's near impossible. It's week one. I mean, um, like you said, the contrarian picks. Like maybe you can get maybe stack someone like the Jet stack with Corey Davis. I mean, that's going to be really good value. I mean, they're probably going to be playing from behind. They're going to throw the ball a ton, and they're cheap. So those are some of the things I like to look for throughout the week.
All right, and my kind of thing is I try to pick 5 quarterbacks I really like each week, and I'll try to make 2 or 3 lineups with each quarterback with different receivers. And like Andy said, I tend to avoid the super expensive running backs because I think there's good value in that middle rounds. And I am shooting darts at other receivers. I'm trying to get the deep threats that you know just have the opportunity to score 2 touchdowns just completely randomly. Like last year, the first week, Darius Slayton went off for 2 touchdowns. Didn't do that the rest of the year. And then towards the end, I had a weekly pick of Nelson Aguilar, and he just killed it in DFS. He'd have 3 catches for 120 yards and 1 touchdown, and he's only, 5,500 on
And
FanDuel.
like 10% owned.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember last year about the rookie thing. Like, don't be scared to pick rookies because last year I picked Claypool.
Oh yeah.
I think he was 0.6% owned, and he went off. He was the highest. He had like 45 points or something like that, something crazy. So don't be afraid to pick rookies either because they can
not
go
at
off.
all.
So another thing that you have to look at, especially in these early ones, so as the season goes on, the major prize gets a little bit smaller. The entry fees stay the same, but the amount of people in the contest also gets lower. So these first weeks, there's 1,300,000 people. So you really have to be random with your pick. You probably have to leave some salary cap over, try to get a unique lineup. And even then, there's a pretty good shot someone's going to have your lineup. So don't be afraid to be random. Don't think that you have to use your whole salary cap. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes in DFS is people try to fit that 60,000 salary cap every single time, no matter what. They're changing players that probably have a higher likelihood to boom based on their matchup, but they are cheaper than someone that would fit their lineup. Go with your gut. Don't worry about the salary cap. All right, moving on. Okay, so last little question here as we get this wrapped up. How much money are we putting in this a week during fantasy, the fantasy football season? Do you like to split it up? Is there weeks that you guys like more than others? Does it depend on, if you won the week before? What's your starting salary? And, I think we have different levels of high rollerness in this group. So I think you're going to get a very good perspective of like what someone who doesn't spend as much will do compared to someone who will go all out compared to someone middle of the road. So I'll start you off, BJ. Let's go. How much we putting in this?
I'm probably going to do a decent amount, just only because it's the first week.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first week, even though there's that million people, I think the first week is your best opportunity to really win and really be unique, just because, no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows what's going to happen. No one knows. I mean, the preseason is a good telltale sign, but in reality, you don't really know what's going on. Last year we wouldn't have guessed the Baltimore Ravens would have been nuts on offense, like that crazy nuts. Like maybe who else was a shocker? The Steelers going 11-0.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a shocker to me. So the first week you don't know, so that's why I'll probably go in a good, I'd say I got some money put back from Vegas and stuff, I won. So I'd say probably about $500 I'll probably go in the first week on just $3 bets. I mean, it's max entries are what, Paul, like 150?
450.
450. So $450. So yeah, I'll go max entries this week, probably the first week.
But the thing about that is, I know that sounds like a lot of money on the surface area, but he's probably going to hit on 30 to 50% of those. So he's going to get a lot of that back. So you have to know that, especially if he's going to go with the strategies he talked about, picking, 10 quarterbacks and with 20 entries. If one of those quarterbacks ends up being the quarterback of the week, he's going to hit on all those. So you have to realize it's not just 450 lost. It's going to be probably in the grand scheme of things 120. If everything works out horribly, it's probably 120 lost. So you got to know that going in. But anyway, Andrew, how about you?
I'm a little more conservative than that. I'll probably, put in a good $50 or so in on all the $1 million entry. Maybe talk to my brother and see if we can split on entries there and give ourselves a pretty good shot to win that grand prize. But I think, like everybody said, the first week, I think the $3 $1 million entry there is your best bet for week one.
And I'm middle of the road. I'll probably go $100 or so. Try to make that last throughout the whole season. That's kind of my goal going into it. You have to know going in if your research isn't clicking. Even though you put $100 in, you might walk away with zero. I learned that the hard way last year when I picked Justin Herbert against the Patriots, and he scored 0 points for me. So, do your research. Only spend money you have. Obviously, your chances of winning is 1 in 1,333,000. So with the research that we, it's not bad actually. With the research we do, we hope to improve everyone's odds, improve our own odds, because it's going to give us an opportunity to, research even more than we already do and kind of share that research with you and just spit some strategy. Our goal is to come out with a weekly show just like this, giving you our picks of the week, 20 to 30 minutes long. We just want to drop some knowledge on you. The reason we think someone's going to boom or bust that week. I might create a little game to see who's been the most accurate on the year. We'll have some fun with it. We want this to be loose, fun, a little shit talking back and forth, just a little fun, 30-minute episode of the week. I really do appreciate you guys coming on, helping me out, kind of split up our knowledge a little bit and help our viewers win some money, because that is the goal of this channel, the fantasy football perspective.
It is possible to win the money on there.
Yeah, BJ did have a big win once in MMA. I don't know if he wants to share the amount, but he got first place. So
first place, and it was they do pay you out.
They do
it's
pay. It's not a myth. It is possible to win, and BJ proved it.
Yep.
I have gotten 11th place out of 80,000 people. It was a great win. And a couple years ago, like I told you, I was rotating between 50,000 and 10,000, and it didn't end up being anything crazy by the end of the night. But I did see the 50,000 beside my name at one point. So it is possible. No, it's not some scam, but you have to realize in these big contests, there are people max entering them, raising their odds of getting it. They're diversifying their lineups, improving their odds. So you are stacked against that, just so you know. Do you guys divvy in any single entries during fantasy football season?
I do not.
I did last year. They had that about 2 or 3 weeks. I did the $25 single entry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, that's probably your best bet. If you're going to put any money in it, $25 bet. I think it was what, a $50,000 prize.
Yeah, it was high.
It was pretty good. I mean, I hit on that a couple times. I think I won $100 is the most I hit on 25.
So
that's pretty good.
These websites also offer single entry contests, and no, we're not sponsored by FanDuel or DraftKings or anything crazy, but they do have single entry, so it eliminates people max entering them. Everyone has one lineup, equal odds for everybody. Your research versus their research, mono e mono. See if you can take them out. So there is other options in the DFS community. But that's going to wrap it up. Expect us on a weekly basis. Guys, I appreciate you coming on. Do you guys have any farewell wishes?
No, looking forward to helping you guys win money. That's the goal.
Man, the best time of year. I can't wait.
Give me a little intro YouTube for me.
YouTube.
YouTube.
I love it. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a blessed day. It's Thursday. Weekend. Fantasy football drafts this weekend all over the place. We're getting that cash, baby. Peace.
Yeah. See ya.